Right, so here we are, and this is where we were yesterday. We said a good segmentation study will reveal the following, right? So really how many segments there are in the market. So my brand appeals to one segment, segment 1, segment 2, segment 3. Segment 2 is defined by so and so characteristics. Segment 2 is defined by so and so characteristics. Segment 3 is defined by so and so characteristics. So tell me how many segments and some details about each of those segments. And how big is a segment? If 100% is a population or 100,000 people is a population, how many people are in segment 1 that I am targeting? How many people in segment 2? Because that gives me the size of my market, which I can easily market to. Okay? And how do I market them? So, given the fact that the segment wears white shirts and brown pants, it also reaches Times of India. So I can market to them by advertising in Times of India. That segment wears white shirts, blue pants, and reach Hindu. So I can market to them reading by advertising in the Hindu. Right? Okay, so let's go forward. So here the questions for the demographics are very simple. And we have already seen this in any of our various questions in the form of screening questions and classification questions. It is nothing but the same set of questions. For example, age group, right? Occupation. So what are the various possible occupations? Somebody can be a student, or somebody can be retired, or simply not working. Or if they're working, they can have various options, working in a company, or a self-employed professional like a doctor, lawyer, or they're running a business of their own, or they're freelancers. There are some other options here. They can be working in a government, for example, or they can be working in a college, for example. There are many other possibilities, forms of employment, right? Maybe this particular example was meant for people only in the private sector, and not for people in the government sector or colleges. So that's why these options are here. But as always, we must give all the possible options which are relevant to that particular audience. Some more examples of the very typical simple questions. Up to what level has a chief wage earner studied, educational qualification, illiterate or literate? Now let me see to what extent what we have been talking about makes sense. We have talked about chief wage earner, and we have talked about literate and illiterate, right? Why don't you, let me first check your voice. Can you say something? Speak into the mic, please.
Hello.
Yeah, speak more.
Hello.
Speaking into the mic, your voice is softer than me from this distance. Be loud.
Hello.
Yeah, that's okay. Yes, so can you remember what the chief wage earner definition is?
The person who contributes, the person's salary will be spent for groceries.
Yeah, you started perfectly. You have understood it. You have to articulate it better and loudly. Come on, try.
The chief wage person's salary will be spent for groceries, house rent. The person who contributes more for the
Families?
Expenses.
Excellent. The person who contributes the maximum money towards a family expenditure is called the chief wage earner. Right? Okay, what is the difference between literate and illiterate?
The person who can
No, you have a mic in your hand.
The person who can sign his or her name
is called?
Illiterate.
Excellent. A person who cannot sign? Yeah. So there's a state in our country which was the first to achieve universal literacy. Do you know which state it was?
Sir.
You don't know which state it was? Which state are you from?
Kerala.
Kerala was the first state in the country to have universal literacy.
Okay, sir.
What is universal literacy? So Kerala should be proud of it. Fine. What is universal literacy? %95 of the adult population can sign their own names. That is universal literacy, not 100%. Okay. What is the difference between a general degree and a professional degree? So the last few options here you can see, they say college, postgraduate, general, college, postgraduate, professional. What's the difference between these two? Closer to her. We can't hear her. No? What's your degree?
MSc, Masters.
In?
Masters in Big Data Analytics.
Analytics. Okay. What's your degree?
EMA English Literature.
Okay. So, arts, science, BSc, BA, MSc, MA, this MCom, BCom, this is all called general. Engineering, MBA, law, MBBS, this is called professional because they're specifically meant for one profession. Whereas the MSc, MA kind of things are not just, nowadays of course the distinction is blurring because you have MSc Analytics like you have, and there are people who are doing MA in advertising, for example, and there are people who do MS in marketing. Right? There are those kind of degrees, but by and large this is the classification of professional and general. Right? Let's go forward. Continuing with the examples. Where did this come from? So what kind of durables do you have at home? Right? Does your family own an agricultural land? We're just giving examples here of profiling questions. We'll go forward. So this is the socioeconomic class, NCCS, National Consumer Classification Scheme System. National Consumer Classification System. Right? Or there's a new consumer classification system. No, my memory is failing me. I'll have to double check my notes. I think NCCS stands for New Consumer Classification System. I become so used to just saying NCCS. Right? So you can have A1, A2, A3. Right? All this is A. You can have B1 and B2, which is B, and then there are people below. So people who are below are really very low down in terms of the kind of, durables that they have. They're really, lower socioeconomic class. So these are the typical kind of profiling questions for demographics. Slightly more difficult. Oh, sorry, one more example I've given, monthly household income. These are all simple questions. Slightly more difficult questions would be lifestyle profiling questions. Which of these leisure activities do you indulge in often? Reading a book, going for a walk, going for a drive, meeting friends for a coffee, going to a movie, watching movies or series on OTT, eating out with family, entertaining friends at home. Yes, which of these do you do often? And you have to answer loudly.
Going to a movie.
You go to a movie. Okay. What else do you do often?
Meeting friends for a coffee.
Meeting friends for a coffee. Okay.
Watching movie series on the OTT.
Okay. Very good. You take me for example. I only very recently learned what OTT is. I don't watch. I don't entertain friends at home. As a family, none of us eat so. We just don't like it. Right? Going for a movie? I go for a movie. I went for a movie in 2016, 7 years ago. And before that in 2012. Does it count as often? No. Right? Okay. Yeah. Do I meet friends for a coffee? Yes, I meet friends for a coffee. I go for a drive. I go for a walk. Oh, I realize the first four options I put are what I tend to do very often. That's what has come to my mind first, and I've written that in the example. Then I've forced myself to think of other things which I don't do, which is where the other options have come. right? But anyway, jokes apart, lifestyle questions are difficult because there are so many lifestyle options that people have. And you can frame the question as which do you do often, or you can frame the question as which do you like to do. Here we've done which do you do. We are not asked which do you like to do. We can ask which do you like to do. Or for each of the question you can say, do you do this? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Or we can put a frequency question. How often do you go to a movie? How often do you go for a walk? How often do you read a book? How often do you meet friends for coffee? All the questions are correct. None of these options is wrong. But we have to choose about which is most appropriate in a given situation. Right? Okay, then let's look at this example here. Which of these words describes you well? Let's do this with you, Mike. Right. On the one extreme is shy, other extreme is outgoing. So 1 means shy, 5 means outgoing. You can choose 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Which one would you choose? And you have to be loud. Whether you're shy or outgoing, you have to be loud.
4.
4. Ready to spend or conservative in spending?
2.
You're ready to spend. Okay. You like to be comfortable or you're austere and simple in personal positions?
1. I'd like to be 1.
Okay. You plan investments well or you don't plan investments at all?
2.
You're conservative and traditional in thinking or you're modern in thinking?
3.
3. I'll tell you something about this. The last line has an inbuilt value judgment in it. Nobody likes to be seen as conservative. Something said nobody likes to be seen as you're closed-minded. I'm not closed-minded, I'm open-minded. I'm not conservative, I'm very modern. So that sentence itself has an inbuilt value judgment. Is that why you chose 3? Huh?
I'm neither traditional nor modern. So
You're neither traditional nor modern. It's interesting that you and I are colleagues because I'm the exact opposite for you. You know, I'm shy. I don't spend money. I don't like to become very austere in my personal positions. I don't plan investments at all. Here only we match. That's interesting. So this is the way the questionnaire works. Right now, the final thing is psychographics. Now, when I use the word austere, right, what I mean by it is the person is not concerned about wearing fancy clothes or comfortable shoes or having a lot of comfortable furniture at home and bed furnishings and curtains and so on and so forth. I'm talking about some shirt, some pant, one bed, one cot to sleep on, one simple pillow, one mattress, one table to work on. That is austere. Did you understand austere the same way or did you understand it differently? Did you talk about like to be comfortable the same way or did you understand it differently? Now, it is very difficult to frame these questions. For example, though I describe myself as austere, as in just one simple shirt, simple pant, one simple cot, and one table and chair, and I'm happy. I don't need a sofa set, I don't need curtains and nice good furnishings and all those things, right? But I'll never go by bus anywhere. So I said I don't like spending, but I will spend for an auto or a taxi if I have to go somewhere. I will never stand at a bus stand. So by that description, am I ready to spend? On that dimension, I'm ready to spend. By that description, am I liking personal comfort? I like to be comfortable. I want air-conditioned car to go to somewhere. I don't want to go stand in a bus. So these psychographic questions, you have to frame very carefully. So before you finalize a questionnaire, you have to research the items in the questionnaire. We call it items. So here what happens is there is a parameter. The parameter is, for example, the spending readiness. What are the various items that together define spending readiness. That requires a lot of research and thinking. So demographics is simple. Lifestyle is a little bit more complex. Psychographic questions require a lot of work, and they have the instrument, by instrument I mean questionnaire. The instrument has to be tested for consistency, for validity, for reliability before it can be applied on a large scale in a survey. Just keep this in mind. It's not a likely to be, it's not a generally we put some words and we get some answers kind of things. Right? So you've understood the kind of questions that we ask here? Okay, let's look at a couple of sample outputs. What did I do? There's a sample output, yes. Okay, so we have already seen this in various kinds of studies. What is the age group description? 15% belongs here, 10% belongs here, 24% belongs here. So is it total 100? Yes, 100. Which of these best describes the working status? 3% of the sample, or 3% of the sample are students, which means 3% of the customers are students, right? 34% are employed in a company, 22% are self-employed, 20% are, right? And only so we can safely say that this for this particular product category, whichever that we are profiling, the bulk of the customers are here. %76% of customers are either working or self-employed, right? They're not freelancers, they're not retired, they're not students. They are people who are employed either for themselves or for somebody else, right? So that is the kind of conclusion we will draw. Going forward, what is the age group? Why am I not able to go forward? NCCS, the socioeconomic class. Okay, so 58%, no, 72% are gay. So 76% is working, as we saw earlier, 72% is A. So we can safely conclude that people are working in middle management and above, right? And what is their income? Okay. Income has got the problem, as we said earlier, people won't give the real income. So many of them are probably above 50,000 rupees only, but they won't agree. And therefore, that 70% comes here, 55, 73, agree to more than 30%, 30,000. Is that okay? Are we okay so far? Therefore, this is a very simple activity analysis. Leisure activities, what you do. Now this, if you remember, was a multiple response question. People can choose multiple things. Multiple response was possible. People can read a book and go for a walk as activities. So, which is the most popular activity? OTT is the most popular activity. Right? So people who are watching a movie. Only a smaller percentage tends to read a book or go for a walk, right? So, how do I characterize my sample? My sample, substantial portion of my sample, substantial portion of my target audience, right, of my product, as per the survey, are people who are working, who are higher in CCS, right, who are earning fairly well, not very well, they're earning fairly well, right? Who tend to like OTT or movies, right? Who are quite socially active, they want eat out also. And now we come to this. Are they outgoing? Well, they're outgoing. See, it is a nice correlation. Eat out with family and they're outgoing, socially active. Okay? They're conservative in spending? No, they're ready to spend. More, no, actually they're conservative in spending. They're very simple in their personal life. They don't plan investments. And they're more modern in their thinking. Right, so this is the mean score. Okay, we are a scale of 1 to 5, no? So this is something like, it looks like about 4.3. This looks like about 3.8 types. I'm just doing a visual examination and saying it. So are we clear? So we're saying these are the core profile. Probably the core profile of the target audience for this particular product. Now, we can give these results to the marketing manager. But he will say, listen, can you tell me what percentage is this and this and this? That is what makes our mind very clear. So that we can provide them something like this. So 28% of a target audience is shy, female, and income is 30 to 40,000. 42% of a target audience is outgoing, male, income 41 to 50,000. So the marketing manager says, okay, these are my two big audiences. Now can you tell me what they watch on TV, what they read, what these people watch on TV, what they read, are they on Facebook, so that I can advertise on those things. So that becomes the media habits, and that becomes a marketing strategy. So I know what kind of people they are, which is what profiling study is all about. Now I want to know how to talk to them, for which I need to know the media habits. Now if there are people who go to a restaurant, in the restaurant menu can I put an ad? Just hypothetically talking, right? Or can the waiter come and say, madam, here is your branded dosa? Very far-fetched. But you can think of creative ways to get the brand message across. Once you know what kind of person it is and what kind of products they consume. In these examples, we did not see motivation. If you remember, we talked also about motivational segmentation. We have not seen examples for why is he buying that category? How will we use motivation? We will use motivation by, in our message, in our communication, we will have words which are linked to the motivation. So for example, if the product is a cooking product and the mother is cooking for the children, right? And she is very concerned about the children's health. So she wants to cook the best thing. Then our communications to tell the mother, by using my brand, you'll be doing good for the child. Let me give a little bit of marketing history to it. You all are used to the generation, the times when people buy ready-made products. Branded salt, branded sugar, branded rice, branded atta, right? So on and so forth. 30 years ago, you didn't buy atta branded. You would buy the flour and go to the mill and get it ground, and you would, come back home. Early days, consumers were not buying the branded product very readily not because they didn't trust it. The mother felt guilty. She said, it's my job to do things for the child. When I make things very convenient for myself, am I giving enough attention to my child? Am I just being lazy by doing things? Convenience of the product made her feel guilty. So the communication had to overcome that guilt by saying, by doing the convenient thing, you're actually doing the right thing for your child. So that is what the motivational segmentation kind of thing, that's how powerful it is. When used appropriately, it can help the person to form the strategy. Is it okay? Clear about this?
Yes.
You guys ready for a short exercise?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I will end the slideshow. But how do I do that? I click here and I end show. Keep the annotations. Right? Yeah. Now, I want a slide, sorry. Can you give me an extra slide here, a blank slide after this one? That's fine, I'll manage, yeah. I want you to tell me what may be the core profile of the target audience for I4. You have to tell me as much as possible in terms of demographics, lifestyle, motivation.
Okay, male.
Male. Okay.
Age 18 to 35.
Okay. Normal people don't say 18 to 35. Only market researchers say 18 to 35. Normal people say young.
Yeah.
Fine. 18 to 35. We'll go ahead.
Who is earning more than
You have to be louder.
who is earning more than 50,000
Earning more than
per
50,000.
month?
Or whose father is earning more than 50,000 per month.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of people will they be? Will they be shy? Will they be outgoing?
They'll be outgoing for sure.
Outgoing for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Extroverted.
Ready to spend people.
Okay.
And who wants to show off?
Yeah.
Who wants to show off? That is a motivation, is it? Okay, excellent. This is the demographics. This is the psychographics. This is the motivation. You want to add some lifestyle or this is enough?
Going out with friends often.
Okay, so going out a lot with friends. Because if we don't go out, how will you show off? Right? So what are they trying to show off? That they have the best home? Is that what they're trying to show off?
Yeah, I think so.
You have to be louder. You have to be louder. Whatever you said didn't fall on the audio.
Why do you also?
What you said did not fall on the audio.
No, like
Why do they want to show off? Because they want to tell people that they have the
they
best.
have iPhone.
Matlab the best phone?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Okay. Or the costliest phone.
Costly phone?
Costly phone.
Yeah.
They want to show off saying, I have a costly phone. They don't want to show off saying, I have the best phone.
No.
Okay. Interesting. I'm not here to comment on whether this is right or wrong. It's very interesting that you're thinking like this. Let's go to a very simple product. Let's go to Lifebuoy soap. Oh, no, and before that. You're familiar with Activa?
Yeah.
You're familiar with Jupiter? TVS Jupiter. Okay. What will be the profile difference between Activa, Jupiter, and Vespa? Vespa?
They were both men and women.
Okay.
Vespa, obviously women.
Obviously women. Why obvious?
I think so. It is most preferred by a female.
Okay, fine.
Jupiter, maybe both.
Both. Anything on age group, anything on income?
Activa,
Closer to your mouth.
earning more than 50.
Earning more than 50.
Jupiter, 30 to 40.
Jupiter is cheaper?
Yeah, I think.
What
it
do you
is
think?
I think it is cheaper than Activa.
Fair enough.
Vespa 40 to 50. I don't know anything.
Roughly, yeah. We are not doing an exact exercise here. The idea is to make you think in terms of that logic. Once you think for 3-4 times like this, that will become a habit to think like that. What will be the motivation to buy? You try. I'll help you. Will it be for office commute or for college commute? What will be the age group? Or will it be for the, the husband has gone to work and the wife just wants to do local, going to the local market for stuff and taking the child to the school?
Activa will be for office going people.
Office going.
Jupiter will be used by
There's no need for it to be different. It can be same.
okay.
If you think of the same, you don't have to force to be different. If you think of the same, you can say the same. See, why I gave these two examples is Jupiter and Activa are like to like. It is known as a Me Too brand. They'll be almost similar profile of buying this and buying that. Purpose will be similar.
Office going.
Yeah, similar. Sometimes these are called Me Too brands. Response may be a little different.
So me too means?
Me too. I am also like that. I am also a similar brand. So Activa has been there in the market for a long time.
Yeah.
TVS company must have decided that market is so big. Activa is still selling after so many years successfully. I also want to share in the market. Let me launch an exact competitor. That's why the thought process works. It need not necessarily be different. The same thing, but with more effective marketing, they will pick up a share, and Jupiter has picked up a good share in the market also. Right? I'm sure you would have heard of a vehicle called Pleasure. Hero Pleasure. That was launched for ladies specifically. Many years ago, and again I'm talking 30 years ago, there was a brand of cigarettes called MS.
Cigarettes?
Yes, meant for women. So the company found that there are plenty of women smokers in the country. Why not launch a special cigarette, especially for women, MS? It failed miserably in the market because follow-up research told them that women said, why should I smoke a different cigarette from men? I am anyway a smoker, so I'm going to smoke the same cigarette as men. I don't like the idea of a separate cigarette for women. Right? So, this is the way profiling research works. We'll go to the other extreme for a very simple kind of product. Are you familiar with Fortune cooking oil?
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of person will use that?
Mother.
Mother. Okay.
Who are health conscious?
Because you think Fortune is a healthy brand?
Their ad says very light.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, that's the logic. That's exactly the logic I wanted you to use. From the ad, you're working backwards, seeing what can be the profile. Very good here. Because the ad says the product is very light, you expect the mother to be very health conscious. What else? How many children will she have?
2.
If you have no basis for saying, you can say, how can we say that? There's no reason that you should answer the question with some answer. You can say no. Do you have any basis for saying 2 children?
No.
No. So no idea how many children. Fine. How big will the family be? Large? Is it meant for a large family or for a small family? Will it be a joint family or a nuclear family?
Nuclear.
Why?
Only father, mother, and a child will be there.
Yeah, but why? Why not elders?
Elders,
Mike.
they are not much health conscious.
Elders are not health conscious, you're saying.
Because nowadays these youngsters wants to be fit.
Okay, interesting. Therefore, nuclear family. Very interesting. Will it be socioeconomic class will be high or medium or?
Medium. I think.
Medium. Why? The brand is not expensive.
because of that.
Then why?
Like all people can use that. Like
Okay. So all kinds of people can use
Yeah.
it. It is not very premium pricing.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's fine. Logic is good. Terrific.
everyone can afford.
Everyone can afford. Excellent. So you got an idea of how this works, right? Now, here we were, the also says it is difficult. It's difficult to sit and think about, but the brand manager has to think what age, what gender, which city, what kind of family, what socioeconomic class, what kind of mindset, what kind of value systems, what kind of lifestyle. He's got to be able to define the target group in so many terms. Then the brand manager has to go out and get market research done to find out whether the way he's defined those people, are there enough numbers to spend, right? One thing I didn't do here, this fortune thing that we were talking about. What will be the media habits that they have? How would they advertise to them?
TV,
TV,
YouTube.
They watch YouTube, you think? Do you have any data? You think they watch YouTube
Yeah,
on laptop or mobile?
laptop, mobile.
Mothers will be watching some YouTube videos for cooking.
Okay. In mobile or in laptop?
Mobile.
Okay. That's all. They don't read newspapers, but they don't read magazines, they don't listen to radio.
Newspaper will be there.
Newspaper will be there. Will it be vernacular newspaper or English newspaper? Oh, you're from Kerala. People read newspapers.
Yes.
In your home, they read newspapers.
Yeah.
Which one?
Malayalam newspapers.
Malayalam newspapers. So vernacular newspaper. Yeah. You're not from Kerala. In Tamil Nadu, newspaper readership is not so high. Okay. Excellent. You got a hang of this now? Understand what goes into profiling and segmentation. Remember, psychographic segmentation is not a light task. It's very complex, and the research questionnaire requires plenty of research before we administer it to a sample and do this data collection. Right? We'll close the chapter here. Okay. Thank you.